Hey fam, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives Season 19 review. Thank goodness this episode was much better than the last episode. Only problem is, and I gotta keep it real, gotta be honest, gotta keep it real. I found myself getting extremely irritated with the bald eagle and wondering at what point is he going to experience his karma, because the more that I watch this show, the more is revealed at just how much damage has been done and just how much the narrative has switched to make it seem like some of these wives were so bad and so wrong and so financially abusive and things of that nature, when if you really think about the way things are being said and what's being shown, it's clear that Cody has been taking advantage of all of the women financially, with the exception of his bird, for some time. But we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Like the video as it helps me get in their algorithm. There will be things that I leave out that you want to discuss. Feel free to put it down below, because I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, and I know some of the fam is. So we begin the episode with Meri, Jen, and Zona at the, for those of you who've been here for a long time, bread and breakfast. So Zona was in the shelter and Meri saved her. She said that she needed her and Zona needed Meri. And it's cute. One thing about me is I am a lover of fur babies. So when I saw Meri and I saw how happy she was, and hearing Zona's story, it made me feel glad that they found each other, because fur babies deserve so much love. They're so awesome. And just knowing that she is there for that dog, it warms me. So this whole thing with Coyote Piss Pass and the issues, shout out to Tina. Tina, I hope everything's going well with your husband. This whole thing with Coyote Piss Pass is still an issue. She has been divorced from him now for over a year. We're talking about she went, spoke to the people. They said, yes, you're released, for over a year. And there has been no movement on the land. So she sent an email to the Feathers and Janelle in hopes that they could get something going. Janelle says that just like Meri, she is in the dark. Meri doesn't like that they're being brushed off. You got Christine, who's happy that she's just done with it all. I think that at first I thought that Christine messed herself up in leaving the way that she did and losing out on some of those finances. But I think that Christine did the best thing possible in getting out how she did, because look at how long Cody has held this, basically this money up. Because you don't have money to buy these ladies out, but you got money to buy a $2 million home. Interesting. So Janelle helped Meri realize that she needed to get an attorney. She brings up the conversation that she had with Janelle, and she admits to us that Janelle was telling her to protect herself. And Janelle was saying that she needed to get a lawyer. And Meri at the time was saying, no, we don't need all of that. Now, in more recent confessions, she's like, looking back at that situation and what Janelle was telling me, Janelle was probably really frustrated with me, because here she is trying to let me know what's going on. And rather than taking it in, I had a wall up with her. I was still protecting myself, and she was sharing. I appreciated that Meri admitted this, because to me, it's showing the growth that has occurred in Meri over time, that she's admitting, like, look, I was questioning Janelle's motives. I was thinking that she was in it for herself, when really, for once, Janelle was looking out not just for herself, but she was looking out for me as well. And I do feel like there's times where Janelle hasn't, but in this moment, she was. She says, Meri does, that what Cody has done over the years is he's often pulled out certain words. He's used certain jargon. He's pulled it out of his butt because it sounds good, and it makes you feel like what he's saying is legit. We know this to be true, because that's what he did at that table when he sat with Christine, when Christine told him that she would be leaving with Truly. He came up with ways to try to keep her there and say what she could and couldn't do when it came to Truly. So Meri just wants him to tell them what's going on, like whether or not he's going to sell the property, whether he or not he's going to buy them out, whatever it is. She's like, if you want to buy us out, then buy us out. Janelle's like, look, at this point, we go through these long periods over and over again where we do not hear from him. And it just makes you wonder what's going on. It doesn't make you trust that he's going to be fair. Jen looks at Meri and says, look, you got to protect yourself. There is a lot of miscommunication and it feels like everybody is playing their own game, which it very much so does seem like that. She's like, I got your back. I need you not to mince your words. You're always so gentle and you're always kind of, trying to be sweet. This time I need you to be a cactus. Meri admits that she has tried not to be problematic, that she's tried to keep things okay so that the family could be okay. But there's really no point in Meri doing that because the family is not okay. The family is fractured. And because Meri for so long was trying to appease Cody, Meri has messed up some things herself, has missed out on opportunities with her family herself for that. And I'm not saying that Meri's innocent. Hear me when I say this. I'm saying that for times like when Janelle's sons wanted to spend time with them for the holidays, and rather than allowing them to come over for Christmas Eve, she listened to the bird and his and the bald eagle and didn't have those kids come over because the feathers felt like it was unsafe. So there are instances where her trying not to create waves have caused her to miss out. Meri says she sent the message weeks ago that Janelle responded saying that, she'd love to get started on this process. And as usual, it took Cody some time and he left them out, responding to her eventually saying that they are talking to the right people. Cody says he's not trying to stall, but they're asking him to do them a favor. And he's tired and he has a lot to do. What do you have to do? You always like to make it seem like you have so much going on and like the things that you do are so important. You have 2 young children at home. All of the rest are grown adults. What are you so busy doing other than cutting logs to make it seem like you're doing something important? He loves to make himself seem like he's important, but he's not. They don't need him to do anything. They want to be included in the process so they can get it moved along. If you really wanted their help, you would have allowed them to meet the realtor together with you, call them on the phone and allow them to see the realtor as he comes out there. They shouldn't be hearing anything from him via another party, because what Cody tends to do is he always switches up things and alters words. I feel like any involvement with Cody needs to be with the lawyers that they got on retainer. Hear it from your attorneys through the horse's mouth, whoever that person is. So, for the umpteenth time, Bald Eagle is over there meeting somebody on Pooville, okay? It's yet another real estate agent. We've seen surveyors and real estate agents and all these people out there on this land, and they still don't have it figured out. He admits that at this point, nobody's going to move out there. And his bird has finally given up on the dream, so now he's ready to sell. I said, once again, you are proving that no one else's opinion matters but hers. Because the other wives at various times have suggested to you that you sell this thing over a year ago, and now you want to do it. So we meet Justin, who the Bald Eagle found based on one of his listings. That personally makes me feel like at this point, Cody was looking for property, because why did you find him under one of his listings? It's a weird way to try to find someone to sell your property, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's not weird. Let me change that, because you are referred to by other realtors because of house sales and things of that nature. So I take that back. What I'll say is it's just a weird way that he went about it, in my opinion. So he gives his backstory to Justin, the realtor, like he's supposed to care. They walk around and he's talking about all these things that, don't matter, like the things that they used to do in the poo-poo pond and how the kids did this and how the kids did that and how he has this piece of equipment there because one of his wives wanted to move an RV there. And just so you know, Justin, that's not good for a marriage, especially if you have dogs. But, the other equipment is for, businesses that were unsuccessful. First of all, what businesses are you talking about? Because you never mentioned them on the show, which goes back to Christine saying that she doesn't know what your profession is. And why are you utilizing this opportunity to throw digs at Janelle? There was no point in it. Because I'm beginning to think that when Janelle moved on that land in the RV, you guys had already stopped having a physical relationship. So I don't think that it made anything worse. I think that you all were already where you were at. So he says he is in this situation with his exes that he doesn't get along with. And when you get an offer, what I'll do is I'll email it to them. For all of that, include them on the offers and have them a part of the correspondence. Why do Cody be the only one who should get this email? Put all all three ladies on the email along with Cody and send one email. That way there's no confusion. There's no, it just, he always wants to be control of the way things are going, right? He says that Janelle had suggested that she buy him out, but he doesn't have the money to buy them out. And they're always nagging him. So at this point, he has two ex-wives that were already nags before. And now that he's no longer with them, they're still nags. The women are barely talking to your bald-headed tail. So how are they nagging you when they say that they've gone months at a time without talking to you? A nag to me would mean that they're constantly reaching out to you, that they're in constant contact, and they're not. You are so full of crap, Cody. It's ridiculous. And in this moment, he doesn't have friends, obviously, other than Nathan and the guy that he married and made that whole wedding about him and his dancing. He doesn't have but so many friends. So he's unloading on this realtor. These are not conversations you would genuinely have with a realtor. I mean, it's none of the realtor's business. What are we doing here? What, he doesn't know your story, so because he doesn't know your story, you want to fill him in on camera? It's not making sense. He's just using this opportunity to talk crap about the ladies. So he tells him that this was supposed to be a special place for his entire family, but the dream has died and everybody just wants to cut and run. And it takes long to sell, if he gets the money to try to keep a piece, he will. I don't feel like anybody's just cutting and running because they moved out there when, like 2018, 2019? At this point, it's 2023 at least. What's the holdup? Maybe it's the beginning of 24. I don't know. Y'all correct me down below. But it's not like the land was just sitting there for a year. It's been multiple years. How much longer do you want them to wait? So in one breath, this is a heartbreaking thing. And in the next, you would still keep a piece of it if you could. Cue the violins. Because for whatever reason, during the duration of this episode, whenever the bird speaks, she gets music playing in the background. Like she is just this tender little bird that is really hurt. This is the last thing that, kind of connects some of us. I think that that's another reason why it's so hard for me to let it go. It irritates me to know, that, the last couple of years, have changed. The last, 30 years? There was once upon a time that there was trust and love and connection and, a future. So, yeah. It's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how it went poof. Okay. I said, lady, I said, this chick clearly doesn't listen to anything that has been said over the past 10 years of us watching them on television. She is not this delusional. And I am so over her freaking woe-is me act. The crap works on your husband. It doesn't work on us as viewers and a lot of that family. Bird, you are not the victim here. The kids are. In some instances, the other wives are. The last few years didn't do this. The last few years didn't break up this family. You all did. Every last adult in this family did this. Argue with me. Well, don't argue with me. Disagree with me down in the comments below. Because y'all know we may disagree with each other, but we keep it, respectful over here. Every adult did this. None of them are innocent as far as I'm concerned. They all messed up their kids. They all fooled us as fans with lies and false narratives and secrets and TLC production and the addition of wives. Cody just adding wives despite not being in good marriages and not being happy. They're all liars. So just stop with the dramatics. Stop with the crying and stop production with playing the violin in the background because we don't feel sorry for her in that moment. Matter of fact, whenever she does it, it irritates us more. It gets under our skin more because it's this continued narrative that she is just this fragile person that she is not. If the wives make up 10% of the problem, then she is I'm going to give her 40 of it. And by the wives making up 10, I'm talking the 3 wives together. She's an issue. Bald Eagle claims that he paid for one of the lots on his own of this land. But despite doing that, he is going to divide the money 4 ways. So he's going to be fair. So they have no reason to worry that he's not going to be. While I feel like they have every reason to feel like he's not going to be fair, because if we look at the dynamics of this family, it's never been fair. At one point, various wives were cheated out of things. They always love to point out Meri in that house, but in listening to some of the things that Jen said in the episode, it's clear that they all took L's in various ways. They all paid more and put more into the family, in my opinion, than they should have. They did it for Robyn, but that doesn't get said. So Cody says that Janelle just thinks about screwing him over all the time. And if she could come after him for child support or alimony or anything like that, she would. That she just thinks about how she could F him. When I heard him say it, I immediately thought of some of what I read in articles that said that Janelle was the person who was able to sell Garrison's home. And I'm glad she was given that. Because with him saying what he said, I know that this irritates him to his core. Because how dare you sit there and act like Janelle would come after you when Janelle has never came after you before for the things that she could have come after you before. Where Janelle, like a lot of the other ladies, kept your secrets and has hid things that you have done that was wrong against the other women. but we're going to act like Janelle out of nowhere will just screw you over. So Cody says that he and Robyn just don't know what to do. They left them with the bag. But Meri and Janelle are like, we don't know what he's talking about because we want to help. Meri says, I've offered to help, but I cannot do anything. We cannot do anything because Cody's name is on every single one of the properties and we can't do anything without him. So basically, he can talk all the crap that he wants to, but they can't make moves without him and he knows it. We then get the somber music again, and I said, all right, here goes the bird again with yet another performance. She sits there on the camera and lies. They do flashbacks of the house that they had in Lehigh, and she says that her dream was to always have the one house with them, but it wasn't, because in the book, when Janelle offered for that bird and her little feathers to stay in her home, she declined. Janelle said it, and the bird said it in the book. She said she wanted her own space with Cody and their kids. Production, this is where you insert the clip of one of the many content creators, myself included, reading the passage from the book where that is said. Do your job. Stop allowing this woman to sit up here and whine and cry. Why are y'all still protecting them? I don't get it. What's done is done. Show the truth in what they've done. Take a break from them fools. So Janelle and Maddie get on a video call with Christine to let her know that they put in an offer for 165 acres and it was accepted. They're going to have a flower farm. It's apparently demanding in North Carolina. A lot of people like flowers. She says that, maybe they'll have cabins and it can come to an area where people will stay. They're not really sure what they want to do with it, but they know that there's a whole bunch of possibilities. So Christine is so happy for them. She's like, Janelle, your dreams are finally coming true. You've always wanted land. And she has. Janelle's like, when we moved to Coyote Pass, I was excited about what we could have, about the promises of what it would be. Because like the others, Cody probably sold her on something that he didn't have follow through with. She says, but Cody was in a spot where he was comfortable with the house that he had with his bird. So he was no longer concerned about building on that land. And as she was talking, I'm just like, good for you, Janelle, and good for your kids. Janelle's like, at this point, I don't know what's going on with him. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to that land, he could be selling it from under us for all that I know. So I got a lawyer and I want to go for separation of assets. Christine's like, good. She says the land has been paid off, but nothing has happened. And he keeps on making excuses. And it's just excuse after excuse. Cody is on everything, just like Meri said. So they can't do anything. They got to wait on him. And at this point, because of how he's acted, she doesn't even know if he's going to be kind. In other words, if he's going to be fair. David then joins them on camera, and Christine says her and David have purchased a property in Moab. The ladies discuss the importance of having additional income and how they're now both able to do this. And Janelle tells David that he is way more fun than Cody, and they laugh. One of the things that I can say is the ladies, all of them, Meri was first. No, Janelle was first. Meri then came along. Christine came along. All of them had additional things going on other than Robyn's sister wife closet. We'll get to that. So we're back to Meri and Jen. Jen says she doesn't understand how it is that Meri paid an equal amount like the other wives, and yet she's only getting 2 acres, that she doesn't feel like it's right. Meri says the family funds have always been, different, that the funds went to various kids in colleges and various properties, but it's pointed out that the family did not pay for Leon's college. I'm a little confused on this. If you all remember, please put it down below, because I do remember it being said that because of the price of Leon's college tuition, that Meri would have to cover it, right? But did the family put anything into it? Because I thought the family put like a certain amount into it, because I thought that Janelle like told how much the family put into Logan's college, but I can't remember. But I thought that the family put a portion into it. But either way, she's saying that that wasn't the case for Leon. And I believe Meri, because there is a reason why Meri worked. I think that they put all this stuff into Meri in this house situation and how wrong it was for her to have a house that was large. And there were times where I felt that way too. But I also felt like, how is it wrong for her to have a house that's this large when she's put as much time into the family as she has, when you got people like the bird coming along with all of her debt and she has an even bigger house than Meri? It doesn't sound fair to me. I don't think it was ever fair. So Jen's like, look, so you paid into the family account for the kids, but the family didn't pay into, stuff for your kids' college, and they didn't pay things for your kids' car. And Meri is like, no, I paid for my kids' car. Interesting, because Cody in previous episodes tells us that he paid for all the cars. So here we have Meri letting us be known like, no, I paid the payment for that car. Meri says, Cody says she's not entitled to as much property because she had one kid. His response is, we had 18 kids to take care of, and that's water under the bridge. I don't want to discuss it. She can complain all she wants to. She still got her wet bar. I said, oh, here he goes. I said, TLC, this is when you play that clip to the other wives and you allow us to see them all respond to their take on this, because I'm thinking that the bald eagle doesn't want to discuss it because it's true. But why aren't you showing us what the other wives have to say? You're wasting all this time showing us clips of him talking about Pooville, but you're not letting us see the wives' response to this. Why, even with this new production company, are we getting a bunch of the same crap? Show us what we deserve to see. So Meri is still not trying to make waves while Jen is encouraging her to stop keeping sweet. Meri says, like, look, all I wanted was a man that would take care of things and would take care of me. And I think it's safe to say that the only person who got that was his bird. Jen says it's at a point where it's time for you to not just get a man, but it's time for you to get some. I said, I know that's right, Jen. This completely sounds like conversation I would have with my friend. I said, okay, girl talk, let's go. So they talk about the ways that Meri can find a man, and Meri admits that she has been dating, but it's hard. I'm sure that it's extremely hard, especially when you were with someone for over 30 years. Even if he was trash to you, you haven't been on the dating market for some time. Even with the catfish, she still wasn't, technically on the dating market. So she says she wants a man that is taller and older than her. She'll go as seasoned as 65 and as young as 52. She wants a go-getter. In other words, she wants the opposite of Cody, because that's not what Cody is. She wants someone who knows who he is and doesn't want a polygamous relationship. Cody says, Meri wants an alpha male, and she also wants to be in charge. I don't know how that's going to work for her. Cody, I personally don't think that she wants an alpha male. I think that Meri wants a man, like a real man, not a boy that puffs his chest like he's a man when he's not. She wants somebody that she could be safe and secure with, because I don't think Meri ever truly had that with him. Because even in their marriage, before Janelle came into the picture, he was relying on Janelle to get them money, and he was living in Janelle's place and all those other things. So let's be clear, he's never really showed up, in my opinion, as a man. He says that I hope that, she's happy, but she needs to ditch all of her mean girlfriends and find a guy if she really wants love. Y'all, this is the kicker right here. I quote, if she wants to find a man, she's going to have to ditch those little bitches, because he's not going to put up with that. I had to replay it to make sure I wasn't hearing things. If he thinks that Jen is bad, he would hate me. He would hate me, because Jen has been silent for many years. Meri says Jen has been there for her more than the members of her family. She says, I'm going to keep the person that has been loyal to me around. I'm sure Cody understands that. I said way to dig at Cody. Meri, please keep this same energy and tell us the other crap that he's done. Let us know about that list. Tell us about what was on that list, please. I feel like he doesn't like Jen because Jen is encouraging Meri to know her worth. Jen is encouraging Meri to get what she is due. She's helping her find attorneys. She's supporting her in her business. She's supporting her as a friend. She's being kind to her. She's showing up for her in a way that none of the Browns have. Even his so-called bird. Because what Robyn displayed was not friendship to Meri. Meri thought it was, but I don't think Meri experienced true friendship until she got with someone like Jen. Jen is not just her friend. For me, I see Jen as a sisterhood. I personally cannot begin to imagine how hard it's been for Jen to keep her mouth shut at times. I can't begin to imagine how hard it's been for Jen to not call Cody out the many times that he saw Cody being wrong to her friend. Because there's so much that I'm sure Jen is privy to that Jen has not shared with us out of respect for her friend. I can't begin to imagine how hard it has been for Jen to sit there time and time again and watch Meri as Meri allowed this man to emotionally abuse her and financially abuse her and mistreat her over and over and over again. Meri is not innocent, but Meri put up with a lot. And I really, really think that Cody was the reason for a lot of her issues. I think that Cody stirred the pot in more ways than we'll ever know. So for Cody to be calling Jen out of her name and to be speaking ill of her like that, it just shows more of Cody's true nature. Cody is vile and he's insane and he needs to seek help. On to Christine. It's been a year and her and David have done all these things. They've bought a home, got married, and bought another home for business. She says things are so much easier with David than they were with Cody because with Cody, finances were always this long discussion just for nothing to happen. I want the production and Christine to stop doing the comparison. I do. I really, really do. Because it makes her seem like she's holding on to things still. And I don't know if it's because they're asking her to say, like, what's the difference between this and this? Or if she's doing it because she's doing it. But I want her to stop because there's no need. Just speak on what David is doing and we'll do the comparisons for you. So David's kids and some of Christine's kids come over to their home to load furniture into this U-Haul truck. They bought furniture for the rental property that they have in Moab. So they're going to be loading up the truck to bring that stuff to that property. Christine and David are at home in their office. It's cute because they got their computers opposite ways as they talk. David hasn't seen the house, but he's trusted his wife. He says he's impressed with what she's done. Christine lets us know David has been a businessman for over 40 years. He's had a successful drywall company. So he's very opinionated, but she's excited. If there's something wrong with the house, he can fix it. There's nothing like a man that can handle that type of stuff. Go, Christine. I don't got that type of man. I got the type of man that's going to pay somebody to do it. But I love to see men who, are good with their hands, all right? So Peyton says that his mom has changed a lot since leaving his father. He doesn't know if she always wanted to own a house as a business in Moab, but he does know that she's wanted to be a businesswoman. And so now she's like, I'm going to do it. Christine does say that she loves being the boss. According to Peyton, his father supposedly likes to, do the business stuff and make the plan and follow the plan and, do everything. Whereas David is happy to take a step back. I get what Peyton is saying, but his father really hasn't done a good job of being the businessman. Or the things that he described. I think that the women held Cody down in more ways than he even realizes. So the bird tells us, that she started her own business, the Sister Wives Closet. I said, when did that become her own business? When did that become her own business? She says she was trying to include everyone. I said, there we go again, rewriting history because you didn't start it. You suggested it. The wives all presented different things, and Cody went with your idea over Janelle's want for a gym because yours was cheaper. Even though yours didn't make much sense because nobody wants them expensive, ugly pieces of jewelry that you're trying to sell. You're trying to sell expensive jewelry to a community that some of them can't even afford to spend extra on jewelry, let alone your expensive pieces. It makes no sense. So she says that she tried to include the wives. It's because she wanted free labor and because she needed her money. She needed all their money, I should say. Cody's like, I feel bad about how it all went. Janelle's like, look, the most successful business that I had was the one that I did on my own. And at some point, Cody tried to get involved and felt like it should be, the family should share in it. And I said, no. He tells us that Janelle left and she took her profits with her. And they're not getting any of it, even though they helped fund it. I do not believe that they helped Janelle fund anything. And if they did, it was money that was already owned to her. Let's be clear. The reason why they were able to move to Vegas is because of Janelle. But he always conveniently leaves that stuff out of it. I would have loved to seen Janelle's response to him saying that. But once again, production dropped the ball. We end the episode with Meri saying that she's going to try to be nice, but she's not going to allow him to walk over her when it comes to this property. If there's something that I left out, feel free to put it down to below. What are we rating this episode? This is how I know if you made it to the end. What are we rating this episode? Out of 5 stars, tell me how many you're going to give it. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Until next time.